All right, good evening, everyone. Hello, my name is Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, and today we're going to do something a little bit interesting. We're going to be playing with some good old Armageddon Stax. So this is a donation stream, and I'm looking forward to this. This is a spicy meatball in comparison to many of the other things that I've played on this stream. So, for anyone not familiar with Armageddon Stax, the idea is you use Armageddon and Smokestack to blow up all of your opponent's lands. I'm going to read Smokestack because I assume it's one that you're not really overly familiar with. At least many of you. So, at the beginning of your upkeep, you input a soot counter on Smokestack. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a permanent for each soot counter on Smokestack. So you have the option to essentially resolve your sacrifice trigger first, then put the soot counter on it, so that your opponent will be the first one to go and sacrifice something. Now, Smokestack is a very slow card. It has to make it around the table 1.5 times in order to start doing anything. So, if we're going to rely on Smokestack as sort of an engine to blow things up, then we really need to slow our opponent down a lot. Or maybe we need to accelerate our own stuff out. So playsets of Chalice of the Void and Trinisphere slow our opponents down. We have the full 8 soul lands to take advantage of these cards, as well as power out these things earlier, as well as Mox Diamond, and a whopping 29 lands, which, by the way, most of them are going to come back with Crucible of Worlds at some point in the game. Since Smokestack makes you both go and, sacrifice permanents, you need some way to pull ahead, and Crucible of World plus 1 land every turn does just that. Alternatively, you can sacrifice your Flagstones of Trocaire in order to your Smokestack trigger, and it just gets another land to replace it, so it's like you're really not losing out on mana. Of note, though, if you sacrifice the Flagstones, that land does enter tapped. Importantly, sacrificing this gets you a Plains card, not a basic Plains, so it can fetch the 1 of Savannah in this deck. That's going to be important in a minute. So essentially, this deck is almost colorless in the main deck. Like you have Karns as an alternative win condition, and everything except for these 5 cards in the main deck are colorless. Armageddon does Armageddon things. It blows up all of the lands, and against a lot of decks, that's good enough to just effectively win the game. Humility turns all the little creatures into just 1/1 idiots that do nothing. Note, there's not really removal in this deck, right? So, you might ask the question, well, how do you deal with literally any threat? The answer is, we get our opponent to 0 lands, and then we destroy them with the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. So that says, all creatures have at the beginning of your upkeep, destroy this creature unless you pay 1. So, that's pretty cool. That's the plan. Use Smokestack, Armageddon, and repeated Wastelands to destroy all of your opponent's land, and then blow it up with Tabernacle. Farish asks, states, I'm really curious how it really wins. The answer is that most of the time your opponent just, concedes in frustration to this deck. At least that's my experience in the tournament practice room. Otherwise, the answer is you win with Mishra's Factory. 10 turns of 2/2 beats gets there most of the time. Otherwise, Karn minus kills in about 2 turns. The Karn artifact tokens in this deck get huge very, very quickly. Of note, though, your Karn artifact tokens are not very good if you have already played Humility. I figured that out on accident. When I minused Karn and played a 1/1, I was a little sad. My opponent still conceded to it, but I thought I was going to make a 10-10. Okay, looking at the sideboard, there's a couple more pieces of removal here Tangle Wire to slow things down, Sphere as combo hate, Tormod's Crypt to hate on Reanimator, and then... oh god, it's so beautiful. Look at it, chat. 4 chokes. Yeah, that's gonna feel good. We're gonna wreck some blue decks tonight. Of note, the choke is a little hard to cast. You have 4 Mox Diamonds, 1 Horizon Canopy, 1 Savannah that can actually cast it, but your Flagstones also get you green mana for Savannah if you get a second Flagstones. So it's not quite as hard to cast as it looks, but it's a little harder to cast than you want. So we'll see if we ever draw the chokes and can't actually cast them. Okay, what screens have this? Ignore the clock here because I just want to show this off real quick. So I made a little infographic of the plan for the next couple of streams, and I'm going to try to keep this updated. So when we get a little bit closer to these streams, I'll update it with the ones that are coming afterwards. I'll probably pretty this up a bit at some point and make it look a little bit better. But plan on seeing something like this in future streams to give you an idea of what all I have going and when. I've received a lot of support from the community lately, and my donation queue is starting to add up. So this is something I want to do to just kind of let you know what all's coming. Don't worry, the D&T content is not disappearing. I just had a lot of donations, and I'm trying to do some of the non-D&T one first, since I did a whole bunch of D&T content leading up to my last 2 events. So I think I have 3 or 4 D&T donation decks in the queue, so those are coming as well. One other thing that I want to tease, and then I'll talk about formally later, Wilson Hunter of Cardboard Live, one of my sponsors, gave me the permission to kind of spoil some of the upcoming features of Cardboard Live, which are super hype, and I'm going to talk about them after round 3 of this league. Oh, okay, so the last Legacy League finished. I think I ended up with 6 or 7 trophies. Yeah, 6 trophies. Which is not as many as I wanted. And I got most of those trophies in the first week of playing. Because I did so many leagues at the beginning of the summer. Steam Flyer Boss, if you think Cardboard Live is hype now, just wait. After round 3, I'll talk about the features, but they have some really cool shit coming. Yeah, Hellclan, that's actually a good idea. That I can probably learn to do. I just downloaded GIMP today, which is kind of like the free Photoshop version. So I'm going to try to teach myself how to do things on that. The sub badges that are there now are sort of temporary sub badges. That is not my long-term plan. Thank you for that suggestion, Hellclan. Seriously. Hey, evening, Lasco. I'm really looking forward to doing your stream on Saturday, by the way. Alright, only a handful of people with trophies, so if we go and 5-0 this, we could be on the leaderboard. More importantly, though, if I 5-0 with this deck, then this deck list gets published, and people will think it maybe is playable. I don't know if that's actually true. Alright, we're playing against a real player. Playing against Joe Lissette. Those are cards. I have choices. I think I need to shut off Dakfaden. It taking my artifacts seems like I'm going to lose the game. Oh, jeez. Yeah, we are playing against Joe Lissette. He's a very, very good player. I have a lot of respect for him as a content producer as well. So, Drew, if you want to take a look at the deck list, you can look at the Cardboard Live extension that is on screen. Let's get Joe's Force of Will, shall we? Alright. Exile the Dakfaden, get rid of Force. So awkwardly, I can either Smokestack or Karn, but not both. I think I just want to Karn. Although it's very possible that just like getting the Smokestack down... I'm not ready to Smokestack yet. Ancient Tomb and Smokestack. We have a Smokestack. I kind of just want to get the Ancient Tomb and cast Smokestack. So note that Smokestack doesn't make him sacrifice anything the first time around. Shit. That is hell of awkward. Life got a lot harder. That's for sure. Let's find something with Karn. Alright, so I have a Wasteland in exile. My Ancient Tomb plus whatever land I play are both getting Wastelanded. So I'm fine with this getting Wastelanded. That was a really heads-up play. Getting rid of the Urborg makes it so that this doesn't tap for mana. Alright, sweet. I'm not getting Wastelanded again, so that's good. Hello and welcome. We are on the wrong side of the Crucible of Worlds equation for this matchup. My current plan might be to just tick Smokestack up to 2 and just try to power through my opponent's permanents. In what way is this Phil no? You're going to have to be more specific. Is it Phil no, don't play this deck? Phil no, don't go deep on the Smokestack? Phil no, just concede, all hope is lost? There's a lot of different ways this could be Phil no. Is this just going to be like Sword of the Meek and he's just going to try to go wide of me? Yeah. This game is going to get all sorts of awkward. So the way these triggers are going to work is active players' triggers go on the stack, then non-active players' triggers go on the stack. So he can choose to not pay, or like sacrifice these to Smokestack prior to paying for the Thopters. M. Tesm, thank you very much for your continued support. I do appreciate it. I'm going to focus my brain power on trying to figure out how this match goes now. because I'm not exactly sure. At some point, my opponent just casts Jace, and that's a problem. Yeah, Armageddon would be very good. There is this Jace problem. Chalice of the Void and Ancient Tomb. I feel sort of like I wanted to cast a Chalice on too. That way, like, random top deck transmute artifacts don't do anything too weird. So Rob, with the latest update, Moto changed the way their counters work in an attempt to make them more visible. Hence the like bright green counters we have now. This is something that just happened as of like yesterday. This card's probably a... Oh boy, I don't know what that does, but it can't be good. So it. really need to, like, blow up all the lands side of my deck. If I animate this, Joe just makes a Thopter and he can block. That doesn't do what I want. I'm going to cast another thing in the hopes that it actually does something. You're not contributing anything meaningful to any members of my chat. You've been timed out. Joe is going just as deep as I am. All right. All right. Harry the Lizard Wizard. Well, obviously, this is Armageddon Stax. But my opponent was the better Stax deck, so they won. And unfortunately, my opponent's a blue deck, but they don't have as many islands as I might like. I don't even know if this gets much better for me. I don't know if I actually want to board in Tormod's Crypt. This sort of hate isn't actually going to stop Thopter Sword combo. My opponent can just, like, play around that. And my opponent had a Crucible that game, but I don't know if I'm actually supposed to try to beat their Crucible. I almost think I just whack the submit button. Like, Chalice on 2 is probably better at stopping Thopter Sword combo than Tormod's Crypt is, with also a lot more splash damage elsewhere. Maybe Humility does almost nothing. I guess it stops Baleful Strix from cantripping. So maybe these can go out. And I guess I play 2 of these begrudgingly. Yeah. So I think my plan is actually just to play a turn 2 Chalice for 2. This is a great draw. I'm going to play out my powerful hate card first. I think if my Chalice, if my Crucible resolves, I can probably take over this game. And, like, now my Crucible will 100% get to resolve, since my opponent can't force. Yeah, the Chalice in the board of D&T has been working pretty well for me as well. I'm like not yet to the point where I'm 100% convinced it's right or anything, but I think it's at least good. Similarly, when I played against Bryant Cook, I got double Chalice against him, and he's playing Tess, and that was just devastating. Tasty, tasty, non-basic land. Fucking Dak Faden, god damn it. Well, this lets me kill the Dak, but my opponent has Crucible. Oh, this is super awkward. Because I can't stop this whole Crucible like, I'm gonna be locked under my own Trinisphere. This is some shit! And my Tormod's Crypt costs 3 right now due to Trinisphere. I need to draw basic lands. Is Flagstone's enough? Not really. But it does mean that neither one of my things are super appealing wasteland targets this turn. My opponent wastelands my wasteland, I get the Volk, and I at least extract some value. This actually isn't all that bad for me if I actually get to draw a land this turn. If I draw a land that produces mana, I can Sorcerer Spyglass either Jace or Wasteland and, like, stay in this game. Oh. Never mind. We're pretty dead. I'm gonna play out, like, one more turn. Because I'm still in the position... Trinisphere is feeling like a real strong Magic card right now. Oh, I see. No, Trinisphere doesn't change the converted mana cost of the card. It only changes how much mana you pay for it. I think Joe has Force of Will anyway because of that Mox Diamond play. So I think I'm just, like, 100% dead. I'm going to look at my deck list real quick. I don't see myself getting out of this. Alright, so Mox Diamond. I can Mox Diamond, discard Tabernacle, play, I guess, Mishra's Factory, Spyglass on turn 1, try to shut off a fetch land, Trinisphere on turn 2. That's fine. That's a big speed bump. Ooh, man. We get double polluted Delta here. God, that's sexy. Hmm. Hmm. Nice Snapcaster Mage. What do your cards do? Ooh, man. So I know my opponent has 2/2-drops right now, so I could shut off their Snapcaster and Diabolic Edict, but I don't actually think that matters. Like, this is a 1/1. This does nothing against me. So I think I'm just going to shut off potential future cantrips. Alright, Chalice of the Void is super weird to cast on Magic Online. Takes some getting used to. And no, due to how layers work, Mishra's Factory gets to become a 2/2. Every other creature is a 1/1. Magic is great. Dear opponent, would you like to destroy my Mishra's Factory? You don't want to use your edict for that. What a shame. You can't even use these. You can't even fetch to make mana. I don't even feel bad. Rosho, the short version is, trust me, it works. Moto believes it too. The longer version is essentially that humility's effect does not interact with this becomes thing in a way that's favorable for my opponents. The long version would require me to like pull up some tables, which I don't want to do midstream, especially with this deck, which requires me to think about a whole bunch of weird things. All right, here's the way we actually win. I don't actually want to play this yet, though, because my opponent has 2 polluted deltas that they can just sack. And I would be destroying things that are more valuable than they would. Laska, we've only been playing it for like 30 minutes. So, yes, we are still playing this nonsense. Do I want to let them blow up my Mishra's Factory? They can edict it now. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Maybe it's not. Like, any turn that they actually, like, pay mana for something, I can attack with it. Yeah, I'd play Parfait or Mighty Quinn. Yeah, absolutely. Those decks haven't seen any love in a long time. This is probably where my opponent plays a 1/1 Snapcaster Mage. My opponent has forgotten about the Chalice of the Void. They were so excited that they actually got to cast a spell. Ranch Lord, I recommend you review your Latin. That's not a sensical phrase. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we can make a big boy. And then if my opponent tries to edict me, I can animate my factory. Damn it, I always forget about this. I just talked about this at the beginning of stream. Still probably fine, though. My favorite ranch is Lon Lon Ranch. I'll trade with your Snapcaster. I've got nowhere to be. A Wasteland and another Karn. Backup Karn it is. Alright, Rise is a sorcery. That's good. Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3 mana. I can't play anything else. Oh, my good cards. What's the other card here? Oh, Wasteland. Do I want a Wasteland? Take them off their mana? Yeah. Yeah, I do. One, not cantripping Flying Boy. Rough. We have revealed Armageddon and Trinisphere. Is Armageddon good? Not sure. Is Armageddon good on this board? This is actually a really good draw. I can go 1, 2, 3 for Trinisphere, cast Mox Diamond. Oh no, no, I can't. I can't also Armageddon this turn. Well, maybe I don't want to. Maybe I want this Mox Diamond first. Maybe that's not true. If I just Armageddon, I get 1 land from Flagstones, I have 1 from Mox Diamond, and then I have 2 or 1 from Ancient Tomb afterwards. Well, let's do the good old Force of Will check. So I guess I can play this Ancient Tomb out right now. In case I draw another land. Probably doesn't matter. That matters in my opponent's wasteland, so I'll just pass. So Lord Darkview, either way is fine. It's about half and half. If it's going to be something really weird like Parfait or Mighty Quinn, it might be better for everyone involved if you do send me a deck list. Like, I can still find deck lists, and I can still update them and whatnot, but if it's going to involve something a little bit more off the beaten path, especially that far off the beaten path, it might be best to help me out. Yeah, that's about where I'm at with those deck lists. I've not seen a Mighty Quinn or Parfait list in about 2 years. Yes, Lasco, I like that list. And thank you very much for your continued support. I really do appreciate that. Bonus Armageddon for later. Lasco, I appreciate that. Like, there's a lot of competition on Twitch, right? You know, everyone gets their one free channel due to Amazon Prime. I, for example, throw my Amazon Prime at Julian because he's doing a lot of work to put together the Legacy Premier League, and I really appreciate that. Mike, you know I love you. Really, though, for anyone not familiar with Mike or Overvoltage, he's half or more of the reason why all of these matches actually happen. Rosho. I'm doing some donation lists in the next couple of days. I'm trying to, like, plow through. The next stream following this Saturday morning one will be D&T. %, easy. Really though, to just like talk about some of the behind the scene Legacy Premier League stuff. Mike does all of the things that you don't even notice are happening, like making capture zones for ponders and such. You know, helping to get all of the matches set up, making all of the Skype and Google Hangout things. Mike Overvoltage in chat really does a ton to make the Legacy Premier League happen. That's why when we're talking about donations towards that, we are talking about tipping Mike and Julian. Without both of them, we would not have a Legacy Premier League. So I want chokes. I always forget I have that Blood Moon emote. Someone made it for me a while back. Oh, that was great. The Legacy Premier League is hosted on It's Julian. It is every Wednesday night at about 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are coming up on the finals this next week, which will be Bryant Cook versus Jarvis Yu. Panaconda, I highly recommend checking out the videos on YouTube. They are absolutely awesome. And I'm not just saying that because I do some of the commentary. Really, it's some of the higher level legacy play that I've seen anywhere. Ha! Julian has appeared. So I'm not sure how exactly to sideboard with this deck. Like, I know that I want chokes. I can probably cut back on an Armageddon, and Chalice is only kind of medium against these sorts of decks. So this is my thought. But another Armageddon might just be better than a Chalice. Alright, what does my hand do? Thank you very much for your continued support. Our Twitch baby? It's been that long already? Alright. I'm not actually convinced my hand, like, actively does anything, but I have Crucible and Smokestack, so that's probably good enough. We'll see if we just get, like, Thought Seized and then I'm sad. What do you mean, just? Just. It's a fine win condition. I mean, sweet. Karns and factory attacks. That's better. That's the spirit. But yeah. Like, our plan is either win by opponent conceding out of frustration, or alternatively, we slowly peck to death with a factory or Karn. It's okay. We'll just choke this. We already have our green mana and everything. Game gets awkward super quickly if my opponent has, like, a Culligan's command. God! The second fucking Dak Phaeton deck in a row? What have I done? What have I done to deserve this? Ugh. I've not seen a Crucible of Worlds on the table, on, like, the other side of the table in, like, forever. Nor a Dak Phaeton. So to see that 2 rounds in a row is upsetting. Dak Phaeton is not anywhere near stock in Grixis control. Or I guess this was, like, the 4-color mess, right? I saw Grove game 1. So never mind, I take it back. Well then. This got interesting. I think this is a Trinisphere turn. If my opponent has a K command, this gets K command. If my opponent has a force, this might get forced. So if K command makes me discard it, just discard my Tabernacle because that's irrelevant. Oh no, it's just dealing 2 damage to me. And I'm gonna blow up this here, even though my opponent has Crucible, and it's not like super value or anything. Oh shit. I just assumed that was targeting the Trinisphere. That was targeting the Mox Diamond. Well, let's rip a land so I can play my Crucible and not be punished. Alright. Well. We're gonna try. On the plus side, we did rip a land. We sure did. On the minus side, like everything else about this game. No whammy. No whammy. Come on. Fuck. So I think tonight I'm going to learn that Armageddon Stax can never beat Crucible of Worlds. I think that's tonight's lesson. I think I'm just going to let that happen. And then, end of my opponent's turn, I'll sack my Horizon Canopy. I don't think I want to do it during, like, my turn or their turn to play around, like, a him targeting me. Interesting, they have surgical. Don't really know what to think of that. I guess it's for my wasteland. And so I should probably play out my wasteland in case they get bored and decide to surgical them. I don't think they know anything about my win conditions, to be honest. Ah, that's right. I'm playing magic cards, so it is correct to bring in surgical. How could I forget? Oops. I think I just F6 through my turn. Alright. So I can cast a Chalice on 1 for 3 mana, and then follow up with Choke. Opponent is on Punishing Dak, the 4-color Dak deck. Yeah, double Dak Faden Crucible of World deck in a row when I'm playing Armageddon Stax is a little tilting. Yes, tap those islands. Tap them for me. Surgical Extraction targeting Smokestack. Sure. Opponent can see our deck, figure out what's going on. I mean, Lasco, we know what we're here for, right? Like, I know what I'm about. There was murmuring in the chat when I talked about that before that we might do an Elves chat with Julian. I never actually confirmed that that was happening, but that's something that's on the table. The first guest is Nick Miller, and I'm going to do an Infect stream with him. Yeah, it was my impression that Julian would be game. No, I don't actually know Reed well enough to actually approach him about something like that. If I was going to do a Grixis Control stream, I'd, do it with someone from, like, the Legacy Premier League. We have plenty of great Grixis pilots there. Shit. An answer to Choke. Who does this guy think he is? Wait a second, this is actually good for me. Kind of, right? This takes this Crucible off the table. That makes Wasteland a card again. So oddly enough, this turns my Armageddons back on. This deck is so weird. Alright. So now I'll cast a Chalice on 2. Shut off all that, like, Punishing Fire, Snapcaster Mage sort of BS. Alright, opponent does have their Grove of the Burn Willows Punishing Fire win condition available now. So there's that. I don't actually think I want to play out these lands. I think we're just going to save them for a post-Armageddon world. And if we get himmed, we get himmed. I don't know how many hymns my opponent is playing since they're playing Rise Falls. Ooh! Piece of candy. Ancient Tomb and Mishra's Factory. Not the best. Now that I have Karn, I'm probably going to keep making land drops forever. I'm going to go ahead and do all this stuff. I mean, like, I accept that, like, with my opponent having, like, Bolt and Punishing Fire, this Karn might not be long for this world. But I think, like, a shot at more cards is better than just making a 4/4. Oh, I love you, Julian. You're the greatest. Mishra's Factory and Armageddon. Well, should Karn make it around the table one more time? Good news for Phil fans. I'm not playing out the Mishra's Factory here because I don't think my opponent has Snapcaster Mage. If they had Snapcaster, they would have done dirty things to me already. I feel like I'm about to get punked by just like another counter spell, and then my Karn dies. Ha ha! Yeah! Oh, I can't actually look now. Alright. So, 1 Delta, 1 Tarn, 2nd Tarn. So I guess I should name the Delta. Chalice of the Void. I actually don't know how many mana-producing lands my opponent has left in their deck. I assume it's not a lot. Like, they're going to have their groves that they can naturally draw towards. But as far as fetchable lands go, I don't know. I don't play enough of this deck to know for sure. I imagine, like, there's still something fetchable for this. I don't know if there would be something fetchable for this if my opponent could actually use it. Yeah, that's fine. Guess I'll play one of these. Like, with two more of these lands in play, I don't really have a strong reason to... Excuse me. Like, just hold a fistful of lands. I just kind of need to ride this one out until I find another win condition. Hey, win condition. I'm glad you enjoy it. I do my best to make the best content that I am capable of doing. I still have things that I need to learn how to do. And like I have other things that I want to do for the stream long term that I just like haven't done yet. But I'm really starting to find my groove. Yes, this is a donation deck. A rather spicy one at that. Mike, I very well might take you up on that. Spyglass and choke. Oh, joy, another spyglass. Who needs to worry about clock? We've already won. Alright. So, we're 1-1 against opposing Crucible of Worlds. Joe was on a Tesserator deck. He played a Crucible of Worlds, and then used Thopter combo to kind of like dodge the power of my smokestack. So it's super awkward. "20 Planeswalker. Good God. Sorry, I'm checking something real quick. I apologize, chat. The donation queue is looking pretty spicy right now. Just to like flash it for a second. Like Myth Still, Stoneblade with Gyarados, Red Prison, and Orcish Lumberjack. Like I'm super pumped about it. I don't know how to reply like good luck to good luck, have fun when my plan is like cast turn 1 Trinisphere. I'm gonna write you too, but oh, ho 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 ho. The fun is mine, Trebek. Or something. You want to wasteland me? You want to wasteland me? Oh man. So I haven't actually played a Legacy Ninjas list yet. I've seen like Baleful Strix, Snapcaster recycle them with ninjas. Like that's all kind of sweet. Fuck all of your cards. All of them. You play 1/1s. This is great. I don't even need to Sorcerer Spyglass until after they play the Ether Vial either. That's like the best part. And I don't even think I need to Smokestack yet. Enjoy. Enjoy, opponent. Oh yeah, Bully Hat, 100% on. You are indeed a grand arbiter of taste. Now we'll begin to play Magic. I mean, playing. I don't troll people nearly as hard in paper Magic as I do on Magic Online. Alright, everything as expected. So in paper Magic at the local store, I played a lot of D&T, a handful of like a homebrew Grixis control deck, some random combo. I played a little bit of everything locally. But like Tabernacle is expensive. Alright, they've had enough. Alright, so we're playing against humans, so Wrath of God, great. Humility, great. Tangle Wire may be acceptable, I'm not entirely sure. I don't really want Chalice of the Void. A bunch of my opponent's things are going to be uncounterable due to Cavern of Souls anyway. So, like, even trying to put this at a different number isn't particularly meaningful. The Tangle Wires are probably good. I'm not sure what other card I'm supposed to shave. It's probably just Trinisphere. I think my plan for this matchup is destroy all of my opponent's lands and then Tabernacle. God, this hand is disgusting. So I go Mox Diamond, I guess play Wasteland, play Crucible on turn 1, Armageddon on turn 2, as soon as turn 2. I can technically Armageddon on turn 1 if I wanted. I think we keep this too. Nice, Mom. So now we get to destroy both of my opponent's lands on this turn. And then we'll just have to beat Mom plus whatever idiot comes down this turn. Yeah, I think this is a your move, Yugi boy sort of moment. Alright, that's a decent turn 2 play. Come on, Tabernacle. Ooh. Do I just Karn? Nah. These critters that get bigger are a little annoying. Oh, I'm not really a Yu-Gi-Oh person. Like, I watched the same number of episodes that any random person on TV watched when they were growing up, but I didn't think the card game was actually any good. Let's see, so if I make a 3/3 artifact token, that can trade with one of these, and then my Karn dies. It's not amazing. What if I plus? If I plus, I go up to 6. There's currently 3, 4, 5, 6 showing. Or no, 3. There's currently 5 showing. So if I plus the Karn, I can potentially find something that matters. So I win this game by finding Tabernacle, right? If I Karn plus and miss Tabernacle, or like, and I hit Tabernacle, it's going to go to exile and I'll never get it. Let's make my 4/4. So many lands. I'll get it with the second card. That's the kind of thinking I like. Fuck! That's real good. No, this is not a human, so it didn't actually grow these, in case anyone was curious why it's not bigger. Yeah, my plan for this turn was just, like, cast Armageddon. Now I can't. I can still Wasteland. Ha! Fuck you, Teague! Fuck you, Teague! Ha ha! Ha ha! So I think I get to, like, bounce this Teague this turn, hold the board, and then I just, like, waste all of my opponent's lands forever with Trinisphere, and then it doesn't matter how long it takes me to win. Yeah, sure, you can post that link, Lasco, that's fine. Alright, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and run to the restroom real quick, and then I'm gonna make some sweet Cardboard Live announcements. I've got some cool things to talk about. Be right back. Alright, sorry about the delay, folks. I'm back. Hello, my name's Phil Gallagher. I run ThrabenU University, and tonight we're not playing with D&T. We are playing with Green-White Stax. Armageddon Stax. So I promised a little bit earlier today that I'd talk about Cardboard Live. I've been super, super hyped about this extension, and I finally got permission from Wilson to talk about some of the reasons why I'm so hyped about this. Because, like, many of you might look at this and go, maybe it's not all that different from Stream Decker, but it really is. So here are some of the upcoming features for Cardboard Live. Number 1, you will be able to buy cards from Cardboard Live. So if you see a card that you like on the extension, you will be able to click on it and you will be able to buy that card. The cards will be sold through trusted retailers who have partnered with Cardboard Live. So if you see some sweet, awesome tech at the GP and you go, man, I want to buy that right now, it will be one click away for you. So that's awesome. Also cool about that is your streamer will get a commission for doing that. So if you need to buy cards, you can buy them through Cardboard Live, and then your favorite streamer buddy makes a little bit of money on the side. which is super cool. And, like, maybe that's not the coolest thing for everybody. Next up, Cardboard Live is about to get a huge design rehaul. It's already more or less done. It just hasn't been implemented yet. So, like, right now, I think it looks pretty good, but it's about to look a whole lot sharper. And number 3, and here's the cool one, Cardboard Live is going to work for paper magic, where you scroll over a paper card that is on the screen, and it will give you a digital version of that card. They have the image recognition software where it needs to be in order to do that. So if you're trying to like watch your GP coverage and there's a bunch of glare on a card or a card's too small, you just hover over it and then bam, Cardboard Live will pop up with a bigger and better version of that card. And that's super awesome. That program is done, it works, it is ready to go, it just needs to be trained on all the individual Magic cards, which is going to take time. And that's actually the thing I'm most excited about for Cardboard Live. And, like, why I was so happy to be on board and to get sponsored by them is because, like, I've been saying this for weeks, but, like, I think this is the future of Magic. And that's the big feature that is going to put this, like, miles ahead of everybody else in terms of coverage. Yeah, I'm so excited to see that in action. It works. It just has to be trained on all the cards now. So some of these features are going to take time to implement, but the goal is to have, you know, most or all of this stuff operational by the end of the year. You know, fingers crossed. But this is why I'm so hype on Cardboard Live. I can't wait to see that in action. Shalrema, I'm talking about Cardboard Live. They're one of my sponsors, and if you look on the left-hand side of the screen, the little card icon with like a little mouth thing there, that's the Cardboard Live extension. Yeah, I'm not sure that, you know, one of their ways of monetizing it and like being used on GP and Pro Tour coverage is necessarily going to be mutually exclusive. I can see a world where both of those align. We'll have to see how that all shakes out. Yeah, I'm like, as a content creator who is very regularly producing content, and people are always asking me like, how can I support you? And if I can just respond, hey, just buy cards, that supports me. That's so cool. Turn 1 Trinisphere. Keep. Turn 2 Karn. Strong. Karn will be uncounterable so long as the Trinisphere lands as well. Opponent tanking hard about some mulligans here. Bad news, opponent. Your decisions might not matter too much this game. So super tiny thing, but I'm going to produce red there in case my opponent just like scoops to Karn on turn 2, and I'm going to produce red again with it on Mox Diamond on my following turn. I'm going to make them scoop, like thinking that I might be like Red Prison. This might be enough to let the cat out of the bag, though. Depending on how clued into Legacy my opponent is. So I guess my opponent's probably lands. Wasteland and Taiga. I'm gonna assume my life total doesn't matter. And just play Ancient Tomb this turn. And this is just going to be a Karn minus game. Kill you in 3 turns. Alright, if I see Wasteland and Taiga, I think I want to board for lands. I can make them make a 1/1 token. That's pretty hilarious. We are moving on to match 4. I am currently 2-1 and up a game versus lands. So this might be... God, so, like, this is a Life from the Loam deck, right? So, like, this is the 3rd match in a row I play against a deck that can get their lands back from the graveyard. I'm an honest man. All I want to do is blow up all of the lands and steal all of the fun. And I'm having to fight for both of those things. Okay, so I guess my Tabernacles are pretty bad. My opponent can have, like, Tireless Tracker that it does something against. But otherwise, that's very weak. So I guess I should just play Humility to turn off, like, Tireless Trackers and turn Merit Lodges into 1/1s. And then maybe I keep 1 Miser's Tabernacle. Just so, like, I can assemble the hard lock. It's probably better than everything else. Oh, I guess I should hedge for the world where they are 4-color loam. Because if they're 4-color loam, I want all 3 Tabernacles 100% for sure. I'll keep 1. I should probably keep more than 1, but whatever. Yeah, it does feel bad when you kind of go all in with these lock pieces, and then it just does get Force of Willed, and you don't have a follow-up one. So Chalice on 1 is extremely weak. Chalice on 2 is acceptable, but if I Chalice on 2, I shut off my Sorceress Spyglasses, which prevents me from, like, being on the wrong side of the Wasteland lock if necessary, and also just stops the creation of Merit Lodge. I don't have, like, I obviously don't have a lot of experience, like, playing this matchup from the, like, Stax side, so I don't know for sure that that's the right approach. My opponent's also going to have a whole bunch of Krosan Grips, so some of my artifacts are not going to sit around forever. Tell me about the alternate universe where you are a Merfolk player instead of a D&T player, Phil. Sounds like a bad universe. We need to, like, get off of that world line ASAP. Alright, so my opponent mulliganed. I have a hand with, like, a Spyglass, a Crucible, another Spyglass, Crypt, Geddon. This all seems fine. If I Spyglass on 1, I can Crucible on 2. I could play out just, like, Snow-Covered Plains and Tormod's Crypt this turn and pass. Oh man, opponent's hand is very bad. Like, they have Punishing Fire, Grove, and nothing else. That's sweet. I don't really have a good thing to name right now, and I have Loam under control, so I guess I just named Thespian Stage with this one. For anyone who's not aware, I, like, really hate Merfolk. Like, passionately hate Merfolk. Nice. Nice. Do you need a Y to hate the fish people? I don't think you need a Y. I think you just do. Unless one of their last draws was Krosan Grip, this game's over. Never mind. Rex Sage as well. So Elf Kid, we had no indication. Or no, I guess he did play Badlands. Is it worth casting a Geddon yet? I can probably ride more value out of it if I wait. If my opponent... No, I know the exact contents of my opponent's hand, though. I think I'm going to pass and try to get this Grove with the Badlands as well. It's probably greedy. No, but like in all seriousness, as an answer to the question, I really dislike Merfolk because I feel like it is a worse super punished by not just casting Armageddon with that draw. I really dislike Merfolk because I feel like it is just a worse version of just about every other deck that you could be playing that runs a similar strategy. So now I need to find my 1 of Tabernacle or I probably die. Yeah, I've done a Tin Fin stream before. I've played a decent amount of that on paper. Okay, I don't think I can beat my opponent becoming the Monarch. Ever. Let's just concede to that. Alright, so now that we know that they're loam, this comes in. This comes in. Some number of these probably need to leave. They're not going to have that many loams. And they have Punishing Fire. But I guess my Trinisphere... So I can play one for sure without hurting myself. I want Spyglass for the random planeswalkers they may play. Let's call that good. Not 100% sure. Yeah, Queen Marchesa has been seeing a lot of play recently. I want to play with that card. I've never played with that card at all, but it looks great to me. Turn 1 Trinisphere, turn 2 Crucible of Worlds? Okay. Well played, opponent. You are a skillful magician as well. However, I have 29 lands in my deck. So we're pretty likely to hit land. We'll wait. Yeah, that's true. My opponent, I don't know the exact number, but they probably have 20, 25, 26-ish lands. I don't know exactly. It's a lot because they're also a Mox Diamond deck. All right, so Knight's here. Knight is a problem because it's a wasteland machine. But getting to stick this Crucible means that that part of the equation is much mitigated. It's still a problem because it's going to get huge quickly. Rex Age for my Crucible. At least I have another Crucible. So there's that. So Mishra's Factory plus Crucible means that I can block a knight forever sans Wasteland mucking it up. No, I don't think playing the Crucible turn 1 is better. Like, there's so many free roll wins you get by playing a Trinisphere on turn 1. This is rough. Now my opponent gets to hit me for 8, untap knight, and either make knight bigger, or just, like, have the possibility of wastelanding my flagstones to make my land come into play tapped. But that's not happening. I can Karn minus, make a 3/3. But I think I need to probably just Karn plus and pray. Trinisphere, Ancient Tomb. Well, I was super dead if both of those were on top. I'm only dead on board if my opponent sees it, which I think I have to play towards them not seeing it, since, like, everything's so bad for me. Yeah. We were so close. Honestly, though, like, at that point, the Tabernacle doesn't really do anything, because my opponent can just pay for their stuff. Alright, we still do have hopes of cashing this league. Is this hand good enough? My opponent played Omnitel over the summer. This would not be good against that. If I ignore the fact that, like, he might be on a combo deck, like, is this fine? I go turn 2 Crucible, have, like, turn 3 Wasteland Lock available, or I have turn 3 Karn. I really hope my opponent isn't Sneak and Show. I'm going to lead on sort of like the most the land that's most likely to make me look like a different deck. This makes me maybe look like D&T. Alright, well, you get to Thoughtseize me. The jig is up. Do you want to take this Crucible, or do you want to take this card? Spoiler, you're probably getting Wastelanded either way. I don't think I want to Wasteland you. You can Wasteland me if you want, though. I think my opponent has a force because they're not just like wastelanding me to try to keep me off of this card. Nope. City of Traders and Smokestack. I have a City of Traders. Opponent has a lot of wastelands. Is it just time to Smokestack? Is that fine? It's probably fine. Hey, my opponent found a thing. So, oddly enough, I almost want to say no to it this turn. But I'll say yes. Smokestack and Smokestack. Neat. I could just Armageddon right here. Take out both of my opponent's lands and just not even play the slow grindy game. I don't think I need to do that. Force pitching Delver on the second smokestack. So this is the point where my opponent could just like double wasteland me and then not have to sacrifice anything with the smokestack trigger. Or we might just get their wasteland. Ooh, neat. What's an exile with Karn? Another smokestack. I don't need that right now. So let's just plus with Karn, see what we get. A land and a humility. We probably get the land here. Oh no, we get the humility. So I'm going to tabernacle my opponent out of this game at some point. So I'm just going to flop this down now and set up for the long term. If my opponent has a daze and they were to daze this, then they would lose their Delver to the smokestack. Yeah, this is fine. And my opponent's done with me. Did we get my opponent's third color that game? No. Okay. I could see that argument, but at the same time, we also can just keep finding cards with Karn to sack. So it's probably fine. So this is the pile of cards that I'd consider. I don't think I need to try to Spyglass fetch lands. That seems like a poor choice. I feel like when I played Choke, I sideboard out some number of Armageddons. But I guess at the same time, my game plan versus this deck is to get them to no mana and kill all their stuff with the Tabernacle. I also don't know how many humilities I'm supposed to play. It's possible that you only want to play 4 when the creatures are very, very powerful or more annoying. Unclear. Maybe I just trim some stuff instead of cutting. Maybe I trim a smokestack, trim a Geddon, trim a Trinisphere. One thing I will say about this deck is that I have, like, no idea how to properly sideboard with it. Man, I could just, like, turn 1 choke. But I'll probably just turn 1 Chalice and try to clear the way for counter magic and then choke on the second turn. So I'm going to play my land before the Mox Diamond, so my Mox Diamond can't get dazed. It's, like, super, super awkward for me if I get dazed. Because then I don't have green for choke. Let's see if this works. I feel like the answer is no if my opponent doesn't have any threats. Force pitch brainstorm. It's alright. Now we're 1 land away from just Armageddon, presumably 2 of their lands. Snap Armageddon. No thought. So I'll play Tabernacle this turn. That will force my opponent to fetch to pay for their Young Pyromancer. Their island is already gone, so then I can wasteland away whatever land they get this turn. And then they can't pay for the Young Pyromancer unless they have a 4th land. They indeed have a 4th land, which is a little annoying, but not the end of the world. This smokestack isn't the greatest in the face of a young pyromancer. I really need another tabernacle, or my Wrath of God. Tanglewire would be fine as well. Karn's fine. Geez, another bolt. That's rough. So now that I know my opponent has Young Pyromancer, am I supposed to board out more copies of Smokestack? Not sure. Okay, go minus one more Smokestack, plus one more Armageddon. I'm leaning super heavily on my Tabernacles. If I do this. But maybe that's kind of the plan. Humility also doesn't seem all that awesome. Like, I guess, like, shutting off Young Pyromancer and just turning it into a 1/1 is nice, but against the other threats, it's probably medium. Yeah. I think when I'm on the play, I want more Trinispheres. Let's try something approximating this. I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to ignore Humility and just keep one more way to kill threats. Again, not really sure how to approach matchups. I just don't know that Humility is going to be worth a card a lot of the time. Turn 1, Mox Diamond, discard Tabernacle, play Flagstones, Chalice. If I draw a land, I have turn 2 Choke as follow-up. That's fine. This hand is going to be a little soft to a Force of Will if I don't have a second land. I'm willing to discard the Tabernacle since I have 4 Crucibles to find and get them back. I realize it's a super important card for the matchup. Actually, I wonder if I'm probably supposed to just play a second Mox Diamond over the Flagstones. Neat. My chalice just resolved. Alright, like a master. Force, pitch, spell pierce. Now we'll just draw another land next turn, and then make a 4/4 with Karn. That sounds fun, right, chat? I think it sounds fun. Next turn we Karn minus again, turn it into a 5/5, and then my opponent will be dead in 3 turns. Though my opponent could have something like an Abrade for a Chalice, and then play a reasonable game of Magic by, like, Lightning Bolting Karn. Don't have as much to say today as I usually do. A lot of playing this deck is just like throwing a haymaker and hoping it works. Oh, good God, that was nice. Opponent's kind of choked on colored mana. Penguin, if you pull up the Cardboard Live extension and you take a look at my mana base, I actually don't have that many green sources. I'm also a Chalice deck. So I think for both of those reasons combined, it's probably a bad idea for me to play Ancient Stirrings. Ooh. We choked him. We choked him. I have 15 power on board, a Planeswalker, and a choke. I think we did it. This is a big, big accomplishment, chat, and I'm glad you all were here with me. We cashed with Armageddon Stax after playing against 2 Crucible of Worlds decks and a Loam deck. I'm very proud. So when I was given this deck list, the person who donated said, "Hey, I'm not sure you can even win a single game with this, but I really want to see some coverage with this." And we did a lot better than win a single game. Let's kind of do a quick breakdown of the deck list. I'm on board with the sideboard plan of chokes. I really like choke. That's a great Magic card. But otherwise, I felt super awkward with sideboarding in like every single round. I just didn't know like what I should be trimming, what I should be cutting, how many copies of various things that I should be bringing in. I guess that's something that would come with more like experience playing the deck. But I found it very hard to conceptualize how I should be sideboarding in most of these matchups. And I don't know if like that's because this sideboard is geared towards like oddly specific things, like let's beat blue decks, let's beat graveyard decks. these fill it out. But it definitely felt awkward. I don't feel like this deck list is like super competitive. I would not feel comfortable bringing this to anything past like an F&M level event. It's very slow to win games. You don't really have any manipulation at all outside of like Karn, I guess, kind of. But generally speaking, right now, I do think Chalice of the Void is an extremely powerful card in the metagame. So, like, on the backs of the powerful cards like Chalice and Trinisphere, you can definitely steal some games with this deck. But I don't think this is the most viable or most safe strategy right now. I hope you enjoyed this tonight because, like, I certainly enjoyed playing this. It was fun. We had a couple of good clip moments. I know I have been sent at least one of them already. Yeah. Normally I have like more feedback to give, but like I don't know what I would change. I don't know how you're supposed to change a deck like this to make it more competitive. I do think that there aren't quite enough mana sources for the choke. So like we have 4, 5, 6 easy mana sources for choke, 10 slightly harder mana sources for choke. But like I want to jam this card every time. And I was really lucky that like when I drew the chokes, I had the mana for them. But I feel like if we're playing 29 lands, we might be able to squeeze one more green source in there somewhere. I never assembled the Horizon Canopy Crucible of Worlds draw engine. That was something I was looking forward to doing with this deck as well. Yep, I think I kind of petered out here. So just to flash the schedule one more time, I will be back on Saturday with Myth Still. That is Myth Realized Standstill. That'll be my next stream. It'll be Saturday morning at about 10 a.m. Eastern time. I don't know exactly. It'll be a little variable depending on what all I do, like Friday night. But that's all I have for you tonight, folks. I hope you enjoyed. Again, my name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, a site for death and taxes. Although, spoilers, I'm going to have some non-D&T coming from a guest author sometime pretty soon. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to have some 5-color humans content coming soon to a Thraben University near you. Sort of an elective class article, so to speak. You can catch me on Twitch every Monday and Thursday at about 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturday mornings. And if you're liking what I'm doing, please follow. And if you're really enjoying my legacy content, consider subscribing or doing a donation deck list to help me do what I love. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you later, chat.